In 1961, wine in New Zealand was a bit of a non-event, really. So what drove this man to plant grapes in Mangere, South Auckland, build a winery and set about changing the face and future of New Zealand wines?
My name's George Fistonich, and I'm on the side of our new winery at Ishimata, Mangere. I started Villa Maria Winery in 1961 at an old site. It was 5 kilometres away from here, and we started. It was very much a port sherry, hybrid grapes wine industry with very little reputation. So how things have changed, we now enjoy a wonderful reputation worldwide as a New Zealand wine industry. What I love about the wine industry, I suppose the wine industry, you start off with a bare paddock, just a bit of dirt, and then winemaking itself is probably half art, half science. Good winemakers have to be a little bit crazy, but they've also got to be very smart. You start right from the soil, the ground, right through to restaurants all around the world. So a very complete lifestyle industry. It's like living your hobby.
This is where everything started, didn't it?
Yes, well, it was initially a 2.25 acre property.
Okay.
And the initial winery in the 60s was that building over there.
Okay, the little brick building, that was your 60s winery.
Yeah.
Okay,
and then it was surrounded by concrete tanks. We had no stainless steel then. But then eventually in the late 60s, early 70s, we built this building here.
Okay, with all the brick and the archways, and this is where everything happened. So how many people did you have working in this winery?
Oh, it was probably about 25 to 30 when we finished there, yeah.
And when you started Villa Maria, how many of them?
One.
So just you?
Yeah.
What are some of the major changes that you've seen, not only in winemaking, but in the industry?
Well, the best way to explain that is when it started, we didn't have any stainless steel. It was purely wooden barrels and concrete tanks over there. All our grape picking was done by hand into bushel cases. And then our crusher, initially we crushed by our feet, jumped around the barrel. And then we actually converted an old washing machines, like one of the old ringers, put a box over it and used to put the grapes through there. And then all our filling our wine was done by getting a rubber hose and putting the barrel and going...
Siphoning it.
Siphoning it into a bottle.
I love it.
And banging a cork in with a rubber mallet, yeah.
And so back then, what was your vision for Villa Maria? What did you see?
We determined actually in 1969 precisely. We had a big sort of strategic planning meeting, the first one we'd ever had.
What, here in the boardroom?
Yes,
upstairs,
in here. And we decided that we're going to go for quality, and we made a point of employing viticulturists, top winemakers, and now 33 years later we've pretty well dominated every major award for 30 years, both in New Zealand and internationally as a New Zealand wine company. In terms of the sort of major exporters, we are probably now the only truly 100% New Zealand wine company in the top 6, which we're quite proud of.
When Villa Maria outgrew the old site, they built a new winery in Marlborough, and then Sir George decided it was time to come home to Mangere. He took a sketch of the Ihumatao Peninsula site to the bank and secured $30 million worth of funding back in 2000. His new winery and office opened in 2004, and it's located in the volcanic crater of Te Ihu Aomatauho. The winery is surrounded by vines producing award-winning wines, and it's built ready for expansion. They have a function centre, a hugely popular lunch restaurant, where people can try out all those wine and food matches that George and his team are so passionate about. There's a brilliant cellar door, and then there's this room. Do you ever just come here? Do you bring your sleeping bag in here sometimes and just kind of bask in the glory?
This is the most time I've spent in here with you.
But this is just a real eye-opener, and I think people would be really interested in it.
Wine shows have been incredibly important to the New Zealand wine industry. Wine shows, I believe, has really created that competition, and the other thing,
that level of
they
excellence.
keep on bringing overseas judges over and experts, and they tell us what to do. I remember when we made our first Pinot Noirs, and this is probably 20 years ago, they were pretty thin. We were overcropping. We didn't really know enough about it.
No.
I remember judges coming saying, no awards for your Pinot Noirs. You've got to sort of leaf pluck, you've got to drop fruit on the ground, you've got to remove the shoulders off of bunches.
Yeah. So they told you what they were expecting, quality-wise, and you can learn from that. I agree. I think shows are a great thing. So this looks pretty amazing. What's this one?
That's I just got that recently in London, the UK. That's a lifetime achievement award by the international wine competition.
Amazing.
With
You
the
wouldn't want to
judges.
get whacked around the head with one of those in Dark Alley on a bad night, would you?
Yeah, there's only three of them in the world. So
that's amazing. Time to meet Nick Piccone. He's the senior winemaker responsible for overseeing the production of Villa Maria's North Island wines, and that includes coordinating the harvest, formulating the wine styles, and assembling the blends.
So Yvonne, this is our Kelton 2010 single vineyard Chardonnay from Hawke's Bay. This is a very special wine for us. It had a phenomenal run in the wine shows in New Zealand last year. So it actually took out the trophy wine of the show in 4 wine shows.
In 4?
4 wine shows.
So that doesn't happen very often, does it?
No, it's unprecedented for a wine in New Zealand to do that. So we're absolutely, stoked with that.
It's amazing. It's like when Nick says complex, he really means complex. You can't pick one character that stands out over the other. I'm getting this melange of grapefruit and rock melon and toasty, nutty characters and lemon and peach and just all sorts of amazing flavours in here. I think you've done very well.
Oh, thanks very much.
And speaking of maturity, you've been with Villa Maria for a little while, haven't you?
Well, I started with the Villa Maria group about 15 years ago.
Oh my gosh, you must have been a child. Do you come here every day and just pinch yourself and think, this is where I work?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, George is a visionary, and he has a vision for Villa Maria, and if he didn't have that, we wouldn't have made it to 50 years. And I'm sure part of George's plans is to put the structure in place to ensure that our next 50 is as successful as the first. And, for a winemaker, I'm like a kid in a lolly shop because there's such an extensive range of varietals and styles. And luckily, George, having that quality vision that he does have, he gives us the ability to go ahead and bottle these wines when we think that they're up to it.
Good work. Cheers.
Cheers.
As well as this multi-award winner, Villa Maria also owns about a quarter of the famous Gimblett Gravels region in Hawke's Bay. And this is Ollie Powery, the man who looks after the grapes in these parts, which are usually really hot and sunny. Just not today, though.
We've got the Villa Maria Cellar Selection Syrah 2010.
And that's from right here in the Gimblett Gravels.
Gimblett Gravels,
okay, let's have a go.
Sure.
I want to see what it looks like. Fantastic. Wow, look at that colour. Sensational. So inky and purple. So what is it about the Gimblett Gravels that makes such amazing reds?
The key with Oahu Gravels is it does have some layers of silt in the soil, as well as the really stony, gravelly soil. So that gives us opportunities for other varieties within the mix. So we have Merlot, Malbec, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and of course Syrah.
It's quite comforting and mysterious, isn't it?
It is. It's got some real nice smoky oak in there. It's lovely.
Oh, I've got to taste it now. Wow, that's got some weight.
Hasn't it?
Yeah. What do you taste in that wine?
I just get those lovely dark fruits and plum, blackcurrant, but also hints of chocolate in there as well.
I was just going to say that, like dark chocolate, super dark chocolate. It's like a meal in a glass.
Good to hear.
Can you let us in on any sort of secrets that might be around the corner or anything new that might be happening in the vineyard?
Where we're actually sitting right now, George has a plan for this one day, which pretty much the Gimblett Gravels is all planted except for this wee spot.
Oh, you know what would be really good?
What would that be?
Olympic-sized swimming pool.
Perfect.
So on the days that it is really sunny and really hot, everyone from around the place can come and have a swim.
Great idea.
I think that's... You tell George. That's what I reckon. Swimming pool right in the middle of the Gravels.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Cheers.
Cheers. As well as Hawke's Bay, Villa Maria have vineyards all around the country, Gisborne, Otago, and they've also been in Marlborough since the late 1970s. George was, again, one of the first to plant in the Owattree Valley and built a state-of-the-art winery over in the Wairau. Chief Marlborough winemaker George Gerris makes many award-winning wines from their Taylor's Pass vineyard, also in the Owattree Valley, including this fantastic Pinot Noir.
Is this something that you drink often, George?
Yes, actually. This is the 07 Taylor's Fast Pinot Noir. I haven't tried it for a couple of months, actually, but...
It smells so deliciously gamey and
it's just very, very gamey and...
lovely spices there too. A little bit like, there's cinnamon and kind of clove.
It's got dark sort of plums and cherries and, another 12 months, this will be spot on.
Oh, I don't know if I can wait 12 months to try it again. It's quite beguiling, it's quite mysterious. It's such a delicious drink.
It's still getting better.
It's so opulent, it's succulent, there's like flavours just popping all over the place. What's next?
We've got an icon wine that yet to be released
Really?
as well. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people said our reserves are as good as many icon wines, so when we do release an icon wine, it will be
It'll
very,
be spectacular.
Very good. Yeah, there won't be any sort of any question about it.
Wow.
It's got to beat all our own reserve ones, which have won some amazing awards overseas.
Yay, here's to a good day.
Cheers, yeah.
Chef Rob's been flat out in the kitchen preparing lunch for us, along with George's wife Gail, daughter Karen, who's now chair of the board here, head winemaker Alistair Mailing, and George's nephew Fabian Newkitch.
Are you solo Syrah, Alistair?
I am.
George, Gail, what are you
I've
drinking?
got this new variety, unearths. It's absolutely fantastic.
I'm going to try the Chardonnay with the pork.
The Chardonnay's from this vineyard, and the micro salads on your plate are also from the garden on the vineyard as well. So
Reminds me of my childhood, yeah.
Hey, and Karen, it must have been a really busy childhood.
Growing up right on the winery site for the first few years, it was like a great playground being out in the vineyard. And as I grew up, and then I'd come out and work part-time, as a student, and you saw the growth of the industry.
Yeah.
As Villa Maria grew, it was really paralleled the growth of the New Zealand wine industries.
Alistair, how's your steak? I can actually smell that Syrah from
I bet you
here.
can. It's actually a perfect match for it. It's got the spicy white pepper component to it, and the Syrah, and it just goes very well with the meat.
How's your fish, Gail?
Beautiful, thank you. Yes, matched perfectly with the anise.
The anise? I just want to say thank you very much for inviting me along to lunch. It's a gorgeous day.
Cheers.
Good health.
Brilliant food, good health.